Tony.
Tony. There we go.
Tony,
Mark.
and I'm
All
Mark.
right, nice to meet you.
You
Paul.
are
Nice to
Paul?
meet you, Paul. How are you guys?
Paul Byrne.
That's the one.
Oh. I know an
Well done
artist
again.
named
I think
Byrne.
this movie might be a hit. I have a feeling.
Rolling.
I was just thinking, you guys, you've been with Disney for quite a while. I know that, Tony, you joined in '89 after 2 years in Cal Arts, and then you joined in '83. So you've been through the great second coming that Disney enjoyed, and this was pretty much the jewel in the crown of that second coming. But I wonder, even then, did you kind of have an inkling that 17 years later, we're still going to be doing junkets for this movie?
No, I had no idea. I had no idea that 17 years later I would still be animating Pumbaa, which I've done over the years, even in the last 5 years, because Pumbaa and Timon have become mascots for the Disneyland safety program, and they've asked me to draw him and animate him again. So I've actually been, and we did bloopers recently for the Lion King 3D video that's coming out very soon. You're going to see all new animation of the characters for the video that's coming out. So yeah, I mean, who'd have thought that all this would happen from this little film that could?
Yeah.
Well, that notion too that you know, it is a film that's got plenty of depth already, and it is. I think even in charcoal, you'd enjoy this movie. The storytelling and the writing is so strong. I don't know when you first heard that it was going to be a 3D version. I don't know if you had any particular kind of reaction, because some people adore 3D, others feel it might be just more of a novelty to get people away from their home screens. And was there any kind of initial reaction when you heard the news?
Well, I think, yeah, for me, I think I kind of was, really? I mean, I guess that'll be okay. I mean, they've got, the technology to do it. It's like, yeah, how do you do that? I mean, I didn't know how they did that, but they've, when you see the results, it's absolutely amazing what they've been able to do. And it works. It works great. So I'm happy they did it.
I was amazed at just the subtlety that they were able to achieve in the 3D. There's scenes where some of the lions, you can actually feel the nose is closer to you than the eyes and things like that, so that it really made a head turn even more dimensional than the 2D drawings. It really blew my mind just to see that come to life.
I suppose too that this would be, as I said, sort of like a pinnacle of that great second coming for Disney, and certainly a great example of how hand-drawn can be, and people like Miyazaki are still proving that hand-drawn has got a place. But digital obviously has, since Toy Story, has become the dominant force, and I don't know if you guys have a particular fondness towards hand-drawn, given that it was part of your history and part of Disney's history. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
I think Mark and I got into this industry because we love to draw.
Right.
I mean, and it's really that feeling of making a drawing with a pencil on paper that really gets us excited. Making a funny drawing, make somebody laugh with a funny drawing. That's kind of what we grew up with. We grew up with the 9 Old Men of Disney and films like Beauty and the, or sorry, that's a more recent one. Bambi.
You're
and,
still a kid,
you know,
so.
all these great classic Disney films, and those are the things that inspire us and the kind of movies that we've always wanted to make.
Yeah.
And would you feel that, I know Disney had made an attempt now with The Princess and the Frog, Lasseter brought back hand-drawn, and I know he's a big fan and hopes and wants it to be part of people's childhood still. I don't know if you feel what it is a struggle though, because kids become so attuned that their grammar is almost visually now, there's such a strong leaning towards what digital does for them, or do you think, well, like Miyazaki and others, you can actually still get an audience to go to a story if it's a good story rather than...
Yeah, I think what you said, it really, to me, is what's key. Is it a good story and compelling characters? And I think you can tell that in a variety of ways. I mean, we see a huge variety of animation, in the world now. Not only CG and some hand drawn, but Flash is stuff you see on TV. I mean, there's just to this amazing stop motion that's going on, that's being done. I mean, there's a huge variety of ways of animating. But it's really always comes back to story and character, and that's what's got to be, crucial. And that's what John, that's what he grew up on, and that's what he took to Pixar, that philosophy, and that's what we've always had at Disney, and that's what we, continue to pound all the time. Is it's got to be a great story with compelling characters, and if it's told in CG, fine. If it's told as a hand-drawn film, great. I mean, or a stop motion film. That's fine too, but it's all about really, the character and story that these, characters get to live in.
I get this, for me personally, I think since Enchanted, which was like the sort of flip side of Shrek, it celebrated the fairy tales and brought them into a modern setting and kind of was more of a positive sort of a sense of, if we believe in this magic, it's a wonderful world. And then recent movies like Bolt and certainly Tangled recently, there seems to be an actual genuine sort of sense of Disney being back in the game in a big way. I don't know if it's too kind of precarious to say, oh, this is the third coming, or whether you'd feel, well, there is definitely a swing?
Well, I suppose, you know, history will tell if
Yeah.
this is the third coming or not, but, you know, we've never changed our thinking. I mean, it's always, again, we try to come up with the most, you know, wonderful stories to tell and compelling characters and create, you know, wonderful worlds to place them in. I mean, that thinking hasn't changed and over the course of time. So, you know, we're just still trying to make the very best entertainment and films that we can.
Yeah, and these days it's really trying to understand how to best use the technology, because there's a lot of great technology out there that can help us to make a story even bigger and better. Like the 3D version of The Lion King, it has brought a new life to what we do, and even a 2D classic like The Lion King being brought back to life is really key.
There's a question for me still about 3D. I know that I haven't met anybody come out of a 3D screening yet and said, man, I feel great, my eyes are just, I've never felt better. There is that struggle to get people to sort of, you know, to get the technology to the point where people don't feel a little bit sort of tired and a little bit sort of annoyed by 3D glasses. I know the disgruntled ex-Disney employee, Jeffrey Katzenberg, he recently said to The Hollywood Reporter that it's really up to the studios to make better films to get people back in, because there's been a dip in the sales.
That's
Do you
the
have a
key.
strong feeling about 3D? Do you think what it is more than just a device to get people into cinemas?
Well, I think there's certainly an element to that, but I think, you know, as I think people were, you know, they felt that way when sound came in. I mean, they felt that way when color was being introduced.
Yeah.
So, and the technology is only going to get better. So, I mean, who knows how long it'll be before you can go see a 3D film with no glasses, other than, you know, my trifocals here and that, but then you won't get the eye strain. So I think it's only going to get better and better.
Right,
And
as long as the technology is used to make the film better
Right.
in some way for the audience, for their viewing pleasure, and make the story come to life, like it was for The Lion King, I think it really added dimension and kind of brought the film that we wanted it to be way back in 1994. If we could have made it in 3D back then, we probably would have.
Yeah.
So to be able to see it this way, I think, is a huge improvement upon a classic.
I gotta go now. You know you're going to be talking about this movie in 50 years' time, by the way, just so you know. So get used to it.
I know.